We are getting extra creative with string lights from Dollar Tree for the holidays. Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Shannon from thedailydiyWire.com, and let's jump into our very first project today, of course, using our Dollar Tree string lights. You will need jingle bells for this project too. Now our lights have 20 lights per strand, so you want to make sure you have 20 jingle bells total. Of course, these bells are metal and we're going to need to do a little bit of work on them, so safety first. Grab out some gloves, some safety glasses, and we are going to actually cut that little top piece, the little hook on our jingle bell, off. And to do that, we're going to use some tin snips. I absolutely love these things. They are at Walmart for like $6. I will link them down below. They cut through metal and thin plastic and thin wood like butter. Something easy and affordable to add to your craft stash, totally worth it. So what I did is I cut off that top little hook on the top of our jingle bell and then took the needle nose pliers, routed out a hole in there. What we're doing here is basically making a hole in a space for our lights to slide onto. As I said, you're going to need 20 jingle bells, one for each one of our lights. So now that we have our jingle bells all ready to go, let's put these two things together using some hot glue. So basically, before you get started, obviously you want to make sure to plug in your lights, make sure that they work, because you don't want to get through your project and then realize that you've got lights burnt out. No fun there. But it's so easy to do now. You just take your light, put it into the space in the jingle bell that we made, use your hot glue to glue around the light. That's going to hold our jingle bell in place. And then once you got all your bells on your lights, you can light them up, and let me show you. It is pretty beautiful the way these really turn out once you get them staged and once you get those lights turned on. Is this not gorgeous? This is a glass bowl that I thrifted for only a couple dollars. I filled it with some pine cones, some greenery, some red berries, and of course our beautiful jingle bell lights. Next up is an easy peasy way to take regular lights and make them look way more fancy and high end. So again, we're going to use some clear lights here, plug them in, test them out, make sure they work before we get to work on this project. You're going to need some painter's tape, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the clear glass part of our lights and cover them up with that painter's tape. If you fold over a little section of your tape first, it's going to come off so much easier when we go to remove that tape. So that's just a little tip and trick I wanted to pass on to you. So throw on a Christmas movie or some Christmas music and get to work covering all of your lights with your painter's tape. So the reason we are taping off all those lights is because we are going to paint the cord. All that green, we're going to turn it beautiful gold. Another thing you want to do here is make sure you tape off the prongs and the opening on the back side of the cord where another set of lights could plug in. We don't want any paint to get into those things. So be careful with that. Here's my little contraption that's going to help spray paint all of this. Instead of laying it flat, there are so many cracks and crevices and twists in the cord that I felt like if I hung it up, that it would be so much easier to paint. So I just kind of stuck the cord into a piece of paper tubing from an old roll of wrapping paper and spray painted the cord gold. I gave this 2 coats. You can see it wasn't quite dry. I was a little bit too excited about this. So I let it sit for a little bit longer, let it dry all the way, and then started taking off all that painter's tape and just see the beautiful new string of lights that we've created with gold spray paint. so pretty, but we're not done yet. Keep watching. I want to do a little experiment because inside the box of these lights comes a pack of extras. So a fuse, a couple clear bulbs, and this one right here that has the red into it that actually is going to turn your string of lights into a flashing string of lights. And I had never tried this before, so today was the day. You just replace one of your bulbs with that one with that special red tip, and it will actually activate the flashing on your string lights. Just something fun I thought I would pass along to you. It's up to you if you want to give it a try or not, but why would you want to paint your string lights gold? Well, look how beautiful this is, wrapped in some garland that I got from Hobby Lobby and some greenery. Instead of having those green cords kind of poking out, it looks like a little bit more of jewelry for your greenery. I'm going to show you how easy it is to take these Dollar Tree signs to the next level using string lights. We're going to use some clear ones for this. Of course, you want to test out your string lights and make sure they work before we get started. I picked that cute snowman tall sign for this. There was a cute Santa one there too, but you could really do this with any sign, even in ones that you hand make out of wood. These signs here are made out of chipboard, so they're really thin, easy to drill through. We are going to make some holes in some spaces through this sign using a drill. You probably could even use like a Phillips screwdriver and just twist it, and it would even probably work if you don't want to use a drill for this to punch holes into your sign. Now with our lights, we do need to space them out. There's 20 lights total, but if we did every single one, it would just kind of make like a weird row of lights, and I wanted this to be random. So I started in the bottom left corner, and then we're going to do every other light, a hole for every other light, just because that'll give us more of a random pattern once we push those lights through the back to the front. So kind of use the cord as a guide. You want a little bit of slack as you're doing this. You don't want them too tight or they're going to look wonky. And then actually I had one extra last light at the very end that was absolutely perfectly placed for me to drill a hole right in the middle of that snowflake on the hat to finish this off. So yes, this was a messy project. Here's your PSA to grab yourself a dust buster for your craft room. It makes cleanup so much easier, and who am I kidding? Lots of craft projects get messy, but that is a quick cleanup. And now we can flip this over to the back side. We're going to use our hot glue to put around the back of our sign, around each one of those Christmas lights, push them through and hold them in place until that glue sets up and dries, and then you can move on to the next one. So here's the back side once all those lights are glued into place, and I'm going to flip it over to the front side so you can see that as well. This is such a quick and easy project. You only need those two supplies plus your hot glue, and you can turn any sign into one that lights up. I actually plugged this into the same outlet as my Christmas tree, so when my Christmas tree comes on, this sign comes on, makes it super cute next to the fireplace. Dollar Tree does carry colored Christmas lights, which are really pretty. I'm going to show you what those look like here in just a second. But what if you want some custom colored lights and you want to get them from Dollar Tree? Well, you can make your own. You just need a pack of the clear lights and some alcohol ink, and also some of these makeup sponges that you can also get at Dollar Tree. I will link the alcohol ink and all the other supplies I'm using down in the description box below for you. You are going to need some gloves because this is going to get a little messy. We're going to take our string lights out. You're going to take your alcohol ink, put it onto your makeup sponge, and then dab that onto the glass of your Christmas lights, and it is going to give you that custom color. So what if you wanted a string of all pink, of just pink and blue? You can achieve that in a custom way with something just as simple as alcohol ink. So I was just kind of experimenting here with the different colors that I had. I definitely need to restock my alcohol ink because most of it is actually gone. I've had this for a couple years now. You can see I did pink, blue, and yellow though, and it does, when you light it up, give you more of a pastel color look, which I was absolutely loving. So depending on what you're going for with your Christmas theme, your Christmas look, you can achieve that by just using some alcohol ink to get some custom colors on your string lights. This is a new Dollar Tree find, these really pretty golden glass terrariums. They are $1.75, but I thought they were so pretty, great price, especially if you want to add a little glow or nightlight to an area. We're going to do that with some fairy lights. Now you can get fairy lights at Dollar Tree. I didn't really want to do the bigger string lights for this because I felt like they would be too big, too bulky. So this is a different option, is grabbing some fairy lights from Dollar Tree. These I get from Amazon because they have a much smaller battery pack, so I'll link these down below for you. Totally up to you what you want to do. This is what I had on hand, and I decided I was going to put some pine cones into this terrarium with the lights, and also some greenery. So you can find this greenery at Dollar Tree in the Christmas section. They come in these big long things of them though, but it's easy to just kind of rock them back and forth. Break the metal in there and then pull them apart and the plastic will kind of snap, and then you can make smaller pieces to fit down into the terrarium. I just kind of did it in layers, so a little bit of pine cone, some lights, some greenery, repeat the process until we run out of lights and we fill it all up. You're going to hide that battery pack in the back so you can access it to be able to turn it off and on. But how cute is this? Very simple. And you could take everything out and change it up for the different holidays and seasons. Give yourself a little bit of a nightlight in your kitchen, your bathroom, your windowsill, wherever you need a little pop of light. Next, I'm going to show you my absolute favorite fairy light Christmas project using these huge 4-foot candy canes from Dollar Tree and one of their huge, big, clear ornaments. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our clear ornament outside. This is a stained glass spray paint, and we're going to paint our ornament with that red. I like this because you're going to be able to see through it. We're going to put lights in it eventually when we want to see the lights. So regular red spray paint was not going to work here. I'll link the spray paint down below for you. It gives you that kind of see-through clear color of red. And then I just put it on a dowel rod, put it into a mason jar so it could dry without rolling all over the place. We're gonna make an upright North Pole sign. So the base of it needed to be kind of heavy. I had a piece of scrap wood, a 1x that I cut down, I don't know, maybe 18 inches long, and then just painted it white. Now to work on our candy canes. So the middle of these is actually kind of like a PVC, so it's easy to cut through. We want to cut this as long as possible before it starts to bend. We're going to cut the hook off of our candy cane, so we just want the longer straight piece. To attach the candy cane post to that wood base, we're going to use some L brackets. Very easy to do. We're going to screw the L bracket onto our candy cane first and then down into the wood. That's going to hold our pole for our North Pole straight up for us. So pretty easy, pretty simple thus far. Let's put this all together with our clear ornament that is now dry. We're going to take our fairy lights, turn them on, and tuck them up into our ornament and leave the battery pack hanging out the backside. To attach the ornament onto the top of our candy cane, you're going to need some red duct tape. I got this from Dollar Tree. Push down some of that crinkle material to make room for the tape to adhere. Put the ornament on top, but again, make sure that battery pack is hidden out the back side, and then just tape the ornament onto the top of the PVC. One last thing, I'm going to take a cup hook, which just screws right into the front of our PVC pipe. And then I had this cute North Pole sign. I don't even know where it's from. I think it was from Target's Dollar Spot years ago that I've held on to, and it just worked perfectly in this situation. You could even make up your own Welcome to the North Pole sign. So cute. I love that it lights up. And like I said, one of my absolute favorite fairy light projects I've ever done. This is kind of a take on our North Pole, but we're going to turn it into a wood sign that looks like Rudolph using the same thing. So that red ornament that I painted with a stained glass spray paint, we're going to use that again, but this is the smaller size, not the big giant one. So what I did is I have a piece of wood, which is a shelf from Dollar Tree. I just painted it brown. We're going to give him some eyeballs with some paint. And then I also marked where his nose is on the front. We're going to drill a hole where we want his nose. So now that we have some cute little reindeer eyes, we're going to drill that hole where his nose is going to go, and then use some super glue on the base of the ornament and glue that all over the hole we just drilled. These are some picks that I think you can find something similar at Hobby Lobby. I got them at a Christmas tree store. I didn't use them, so they were just kind of laying around. This was the perfect place to use them, is for the antlers for the top of our reindeer. We're going to use some burlap ribbon to make his ears. So we're going to just tie this in half and then cut out ear shapes and hot glue that over the antlers, and then also add some greenery to really finish this off. And last but not least is to light up Rudolph's nose, that little hole we drilled. We're going to take our fairy lights, push that through the hole into our ornament, and of course give Rudolph his red magical nose. Here is a more toned down way to add fairy lights to an ornament. This time, instead of painting our ornament red, we're going to paint it with a clear matte spray. This is a tip and trick that is going to save you some money. So instead of buying like frosted glass spray paint, just buy matte and it will actually give you the same finish for a fraction of the cost. We are going to use a metal bucket from Dollar Tree and then hot glue some greenery around the top rim. I also had some cute little mini pine cones from Dollar Tree we're going to glue on there as well. You can even add some red berries, which will give it that Christmas touch. Then we're going to work on our ornament. We're going to add our fairy lights to the inside of there. This one is actually from Dollar Tree. You can see how big the battery pack on these are compared to the ones I have been using with the watch batteries. These need 2 AA batteries, so pretty big, which is why I like the Amazon ones that I'll link down below for you. They are very comparable in price. It's just you don't have the big bulk of the battery pack with the Amazon ones, but the Dollar Tree ones work too. And actually, it's not such a big deal with this one because we tuck the battery pack down into the bucket, so it hides it anyway, and then you can just easily take the ornament off and on to turn this off and on. And I love this. It kind of gives it kind of like a icy feel for the wintertime. All right, so back to the regular string lights from Dollar Tree. For the rest of our projects, we're gonna need a piece of foam board for this one. We're gonna turn them into some Christmas trees. So it kind of helps to have a nice mat to lay down because we're gonna use some X-Acto knives to cut out the shapes of our Christmas trees. But first things first, I cut mine right down the middle so I can make 2 trees. Then I took a pencil and drew on kind of a rough shape of our Christmas tree and then used the X-Acto knife to cut it out. I'm going to use that first tree as a template for our second one, so they both look exactly the same. So just laid that on top, used a pencil to trace around it, and then I used the X-Acto knife to cut the second tree out. So I wanted one tree shorter than the other, kind of more of a tiered look. So I cut the bottom 2 rungs off of one tree off, but you'll see I'll have to come back and adjust that even more because the string lights are pretty short. And as you saw in our first project, we have to offset them and just do every other light so that it stretches, because otherwise you'll just have a big bunch of lights and it's just not going to look good and random. So initially I went ahead and marked where I wanted the lights, but that didn't really give me a lot of wiggle room, so I did have to adjust that too. But once you get the placement of the lights where you want them, you're going to take your X-Acto knife and just cut small X's over the marks. We're going to start at the top and work our way down, and you do want the plug at the bottom, obviously. You don't want the plug hanging out the top or you would see it. So like I showed you earlier, you're just going to push your light through the poster or the foam board, and that's going to be enough to really hold it in place. If you want to, you can come back and add some hot glue, which will more permanently secure it. And here's where I realized I don't have enough lights, I don't have enough string, so we're gonna cut off another row of this one, and then we're gonna cut the other one even shorter, so that way we have the 2 different tiered sizes. Now for the base of the tree, I have 2 pieces of scrap wood cut down. We're going to paint those brown. And then to get our trees to stand up, we're going to use some tumbling tower wood pieces from Dollar Tree. You're going to need 4 of those wood pieces for each base. So we're going to put 2 together to make them longer. Put those on the back side of our wood piece, just using some hot glue here. We're going to double that up so there are 2 high, but 4 pieces total. And then we're going to glue the foam board to the front. You'll do that to both of your trees, and this is what they're going to look like, all set up and plugged in and beautiful. Who would have thought? Foam board and some Christmas lights and a little wood base. Hit that thumbs up button. I think this one turned out so good. Kind of a substantial piece, but on a major budget. This one is super fun. You're going to need some hangers from Dollar Tree. I have the child size ones here. No matter if you use adult or child ones, you're going to need 16 total. I had to do some math there. 16 of these hangers total because we're going to need 4 for each side. We're going to make a box, or basically a Christmas present, and we're going to light it up with our Dollar Tree lights. So we're going to put all the hooks of our hangers in the center, so we have the flat sides on the outside, creating our box. And then you're going to use a lot of Dollar Tree zip ties here. We're going to put those in the corners and in the center to keep this shape intact for us, and you're going to repeat this 3 more times, 4 total. Next, line up your squares end to end to make a long line, zip tying as we go, and then you're going to set it up to connect the last 2 sides together to make your cube. Now in comes our Dollar Tree Christmas lights. We're going to use some zip ties and kind of zigzag them throughout the middle of our cube. You're going to use some tulle to wrap our present instead of wrapping paper. Tulle, that way we can see through it and we can see those lights once they light up. So grab a few things of the tulle, get to wrapping, and then we're going to top this off with a bow. I love this project. It'd be great to sit under your Christmas tree, kind of have light up packages. You can make these in different sizes. You can make them in different colors. Such a fun and cute DIY project using Dollar Tree hangers. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new, and I'll have 2 more Christmas DIY videos popping up on your screen. Go ahead, click which one is your favorite, head on over, and I'll see you there for more budget-friendly DIYs. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one. Have a creative day.